industry working on the Workers' Compensation Modernization Program. Today we're going to be focusing specifically on group management for attorneys. And I apologize, this answer hour was canceled kind of last minute last week. I had to be out of the office unexpectedly, and I sincerely apologize for that inconvenience. We did attempt to cancel those at the last minute, but it appears that some of you did not receive that cancellation notice. So again, sincerest apologies there. We will get all this information to you today. As always, we are going to go ahead and record this answer hour, and I've just gone ahead and I've muted all of your microphones. We ask that you do use the chat for questions if you have them. If you don't want to use the chat for some reason, you can certainly take yourself off of mute. We just ask that you go right back on mute after you're done with your question, just so we can minimize background noise for the number of people that we've got on our call today. So with that, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into our agenda. I've decided to structure this a little bit differently than we structure our normal answer hours. So a lot of the time in just a standard answer hour, we go through a lot of the issues that people are seeing related to their specific stakeholder group. So if any of you were in that last answer hour that we just did, we go through kind of the resolutions and some of the outstanding issues that we're seeing related to the community, the legal community. And this one, I wanted to take kind of a different approach because group management is kind of its own thing, and it varies a little bit between each stakeholder group. So what I've done is I've actually gone ahead and put together some frequently asked questions. So I'll run through kind of those frequently asked questions that I see from the legal community quite a bit on group management. And then we'll do a QA and demo, so no need to wait for the Q&A section. If you've got questions, please just feel free to start adding those to the chat at any point. And then we'll just go through really quickly our upcoming answer hour sessions. I know we only have 30 minutes here, so I will work as efficiently as possible to get through this deck and all of your questions. All right, so first question here. I have a user who is showing up as pending in my group. Why is that? So a few weeks ago, some of you may remember that we were experiencing some issues where users who had registered for campus were still showing up in the pending invites column of the group management screen. So we have resolved that. That should not be occurring for any entities anymore. It was occurring a little bit longer than anticipated for our rehab community, just with the nuances with their registrations, but for the legal community, it should no longer be happening. If you do see somebody who is still stuck as pending, the first thing that we ask for you to try is to verify that they've registered for campus. So just check with that user, make sure that they've already registered for campus, verify the email address that they registered with. If you still can't find any issues there, go ahead and send us a message. You can contact our help desk. We can take a look on our end and make sure that the email address that we have on file is correct for that user. And then we can also make sure that that user is part of the correct group. So if you see that, please just contact us, but you shouldn't really be seeing that with users who are registered at this point. How do I change permissions for the user? So how can we change user permissions? I can run through this in a demo, and I apologize, I just saw something in the chat here regarding Earl's connection issues. Bear with me just a second here. I'm not sure who I've got on for support today. Tyler, would you mind reaching out to Earl to see if he has his audio connected? I'm not seeing that he has his audio connected. It looks like he may not have his audio connected correctly.
Yeah, I'll reach out to him.
Thank you. All right, so going back to how do I change permissions for users? This one is pretty simple. I'm actually going to just go ahead and hop into the application and show you all how to do this. You all are probably old pros at this by this point, but always a good refresher to have. Bear with me just a second while I get into my test environment. right. Now getting into my test environment, I am just going to go ahead and log in as a paralegal legal assistant who is also a group administrator. So if I need to change permissions for users in my group, obviously I need to be a group administrator. I'm going to click on my name. I'm going to click on my groups. And then we can see here that I've got a number of members in my group. I'm going to go ahead and click this little kebab menu and click manage group. At this point, I can just click on any one of these attorneys. I can just select a box. I can click edit and update any of their permissions. So I can also do this if I'm waiting for someone to register. Just add permissions to them, remove permissions, easy as that. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get back into my PowerPoint here. I'm going to field a couple of the questions that we've got in the chat. So is there a way to file narrative reports? Ellie, I think I might need a little bit more context on that, but that's something that we could possibly demo towards the end of the call. Pam, campus shows our old firm name from years ago and our old primary address. We tried to change our firm name and it says it will update it, but it never does. Regarding the primary address, I don't see any place to change that. So Pam, if you want to go ahead and sign, or Pamela, I apologize. If you want to go ahead and send an email to our help desk letting them know that your address needs to be changed. If you did already submit a change for your firm name, what happens is someone in our on our internal side at DLI needs to review that and approve that. So no need to keep submitting that one. We will just update that one once we review it and confirm it. All right. The service of process designee of our firm isn't receiving emails and we are not sure why. Are there additional permissions we need to give her? So in those instances, I think Ellie and Sheila, it looks like you guys are experiencing the same issue. Go ahead and send those our way. I want to look at those specifically. If you have any examples of emails that others have gotten that are service related that the user in question has not gotten, that would be really helpful. We can look into those. And the next one, are cases and claims supposed to show up under our law firm? I'm an attorney and I can see my cases in my own login, but nothing under related claims and cases for the law firm. So my assistant can't access claims even with all of the permissions enabled. So access to claims and cases is going to be limited to the attorney of record and also your related legal assistants or professionals. So unfortunately, if it is a legacy file, you would need to make sure, I think in those cases, you could file an updated notice of appearance and that would automatically update it so that your related legal staff would have access to that case. Again, you would just need to make sure that your relationships are established. So I can run through how to establish those relationships. What should happen after you have those relationships established is that any of the support professionals who you are related to should have access to the files that you have access to as the attorney, and then they also should be able to file on your behalf. As far as the related claims and cases tab under your entity details page, that is only going to display cases where your firm itself is listed as a party. So it'll be kind of used in limited circumstances for you all. That functionality is really going to be a little bit more utilized by our insurers or our claim administrators. And so that actually leads really nicely into our next FAQ, which is how do relationships work and what can related group members do and see? So again, I'm going to go ahead and get back into my application here. Still logged in as Melissa, still logged in as legal assistant. So you can see here, I clicked on Attorney 14, and Attorney 14 has a few relationships. It's related to Melissa and related to Robert, which is another legal professional in my office. I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to find myself in this group. You can see here, I'm related to multiple attorneys because I am a legal assistant. Now, if I wanted to be related to all the attorneys in the firm, I could certainly do that. Looks like we've got about 30 and they're all named very similarly here. So if I update that relationship, now you see here that I'm related to all of these attorneys. What this means is that now I should be able to see future forward any of their claims or cases, and I can file a notice of appearance on their behalf. So if I go back out into the system here, select submit a filing, access a case or claim, file a notice of appearance or representation. If I complete these steps, I'm just going to go ahead and grab a test file from my database here. I'll go ahead and I will select what I am trying to file for. So again, this is something we talked about in our last answer hour. This step right now is taking a little bit of time, and sometimes it allows you to click next without selecting a claim or case. You are going to want to make sure that you select a case or claim, otherwise it will cause you some problems on the next page. We are looking into resolving this and making it required.
Angie, just to note, that'll be part of the next release going out tonight, where you just saw it said getting claim information, and then it disabled the next button. So yeah, you'll no longer have that issue after tonight.
Great, thanks, Tyler. And so now you'll notice that I have this, this drop down right here saying, which attorney are you filing on behalf of? And this is going to give me all those attorneys that I am now related to. I just have to choose. I'm going to go ahead and just select the employer and the insurer as who I am filing for. Verification. And then I am actually going to type in the attorney ID of the attorney that I am attempting to file to. Oh, and I actually picked the wrong attorney. I apologize. With 30 attorneys, it's hard to keep track of all of their bar IDs. I click next. I can choose my service process designees or who I need to serve here. And then I just need to type my own name as it appears. And then while this is submitting, just kind of wanted to show you all the full process of selecting that attorney. And then once I've got this filed, we'll see on my dashboard that I will now have this claim listed in my claims queue, as will the attorney that I filed on behalf of, and then any other legal staff that are related to that attorney. Now if I go back up to my dashboard, and apologies, my test system is taking its time a little bit today. We're working on a few things. You can see here now I've got this claim for retest. And I can open up this claim details page. If I scroll all the way to the bottom and I look at my parties tab, I filed on behalf of the insurer and the employer. So now you can see I'm listed. You can see another attorney is listed. And you can also see that Robert is listed because Robert is also related to another attorney. So we all would have access to this file. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and hop back in my slides. I don't see any other questions right at this minute. The next one is I'm related to an attorney, but I can't see their claims or cases. Why is this? This is an issue that we are seeing with some of those older legacy files. If you were in our last answer hour, Richard spoke a little bit to the need to file that notice of appearance just to make sure that everything is completely clear and the linking is done. If you are having that issue, we recommend that you just refile your notice of appearance. Make sure your relationships are established ahead of time, just so that access is granted. And that should clear up your issue with the claims or cases. Future forward, that shouldn't be a problem. It should just automatically happen with your notice of appearance. But for those legacy cases, we are seeing that has been a bit of an issue, and that is kind of the solution for that. And the last one is one that I've just seen a few times. I'm trying to invite someone to the group, but it says that they cannot be added. And why is this? I'll show you all an example of this one in my test system. So I go back into the My Groups, manage the group. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to try and add just an insurance adjuster to my group. So I know that this is an insurer user. What will happen is there will often be this little message that says, this user can't be added because they are not a registered attorney, paralegal, legal assistant, or other legal professional. Campus requires that members of a law firm must register as one of these user types mentioned above. So if you are trying to add somebody to your group and you get this message, you can contact the help desk. We can often change the user type, but this is something that is going to be determined when the user registers in campus. So just make sure, especially if you guys have new hires that are coming into your firm or people who maybe haven't registered quite yet, that they are registering appropriately, either as an attorney, paralegal, or legal assistant. And if they don't fit into any of those categories and you still need them to be in your group, just make sure that they're selecting other legal professional as their user type, and that should give them the ability to be added to your firm without incident. Looks like we've got a couple questions in the chat. So Stephanie, my assistant has no access to many of my claims. When I try to refile the notice of appearance or retainer, campus asks me if I'm substituting as the existing counsel and forces me to substitute for myself. Is that what you are saying is necessary to give my assistant access to the claim? Just want to confirm. I'm not sure if Richard is on. Let me see if he's still on the call. Richard, is that something that you could possibly speak to? I think I see him on, but I think he's on mute. I'll follow up with Richard on that one for sure, but Stephanie, I believe that is the case. And I know I do have an email. I owe you an email back as well from our answer hour the other day. So we will confirm that. Will the recording of this session be made available to review later? Yes, we are recording this. So I typically try and get those over to communications whenever I can, either at the end of the day or the next day, so that they can put those up. WebEx just takes a little bit as far as the timing to generate the recording. So just a little bit of a delay. And Beth, that's a great question. Can we elaborate more on the definition of what various permissions there are so we should know who should have what? That is a great question. And this is the perfect place to do that. So you can see here that for a legal user, we have 5 different permissions that are available. We've got our designated contact for information requests from DLI. We have our profile management designees, claim access administrators. So this one is going to be not quite as important for your firm, but maybe a good one for someone to have. You'll have your group administrators, and then also your service of process designees. So the really important ones here are going to be your group administrator, your service of process designee, and then your designated contact for information requests from DLI. Those I would say are the three most important ones for legal groups. So we did go ahead and we put a really brief little definition of what each one is responsible for, but I'll elaborate on that a little bit. So the designated contact for information requests from DLI is going to be the person or the people who you specifically want to get information request, not legal service necessarily, but information request for the department. So this may be, let's say our compliance department has a question about a STIP or something of that nature, and they want to send you an email letter just asking for additional information. That information would go to whomever is designated as the contact for information request for DLI. This is a permission that maybe wouldn't be used as frequently in the law offices. I think you guys probably service of process designee you'll use quite a bit more, but definitely want to make sure that you have somebody who is designated to receive those specific requests for information from DLI. Profile management designee, that is going to be the person who has the permissions to actually edit your group information. So when I say group information, most likely it's going to be your firm name. And as I said earlier, you can submit that. Once you submit that request, it does get reviewed internally. So don't request it more than once. Just because you don't see it automatically doesn't mean we don't have it. It just may take a little while for people to review and approve those. Claim access administrator, that person would just be able to essentially grant access to any cases where your firm itself is listed as a party. This isn't going to be used very frequently, as I mentioned, for law firms, because most of the time you all aren't a party to a claim necessarily. You're just associated to a party with the claim. So that's kind of where the difference is with that. Your group administrator is really what you all are. It's the gatekeeper for your firm. You can have multiple group administrators. These folks are going to be able to change permissions. They can add people to the group. They can remove people from the group. They can invite new people to the group. They can change the relationships amongst people in the group. All of the things that we've kind of run through today are what the group administrators can do. And then finally, the service of process designee. So the service of process designee is the person or people in your firm who are specifically designated to receive legal service from the department or through campus. So how this works, most firms have it set up so that it goes to one person or to a central mailbox. You can have multiple service of process designees, but keep in mind that your service of process designees are going to get all of the service. So it's not going to be just the service for that one or just the service for that one person. That service of process is going to apply to your entire firm. So just something to keep in mind as you're trying to designate that permission particularly. May just want to kind of limit that to one or two people or even to a centralized address that your firm uses. So hopefully that elaborates those a little bit more for you all. Next question, Tina, our office is having a hard time locating new documents in campus. We are receiving things indicating that we have a new document available and then very little info is provided. The only bit of information is the number or the dispute. How do we locate these new documents? So typically you should be able to follow a link provided in that email to locate those new documents. I know we are having issues with that right now, but that is typically how you would locate those documents, is you would click into the dispute or the intervention or whatever transaction it is related to, and that should take you to that, and you could view the documents there. Do I need to assign the service of process designee to the attorneys in my groups to receive notice of filings? Is that a permission they should have, or should that permission only be given to support staff? So that permission is kind of up to however you want to use it. Depending on how large your firm is, it sometimes is easier just to have like one support staff person who is responsible for receiving all of that service. Typically, what's going to happen is your attorney is going to be the person who is served anyway. How it works is if the attorney is in that service list and they are checked, or even if a paralegal or legal assistant is checked as part of the service list as someone who needs to be served, your service of process designee or designees are automatically going to be checked as well. So you wouldn't need to grant it to each attorney individually. It just kind of depends on how you want your firm to be set up. Is there any way to follow up on open tickets with the help desk? Let me see if Mike, I don't think Mike is on. If you're having help desk issues, or if you have outstanding tickets, please send an email my way. I can reach out to the help desk staff and see if they can give us or follow up with you. In some instances, those are sent out to other people to complete. But if you want to go ahead and just send that my way, I just put my email in the chat. I can take a look at that. Beth, another really great question. If you send the service of process designee to a central mailbox, does that central mailbox need to have its own campus sign-on? Yes, you would need to have a campus account. Campus is required to have a one-to-one sign-on for users, or one-to-one relationship between users and email addresses. So you wouldn't be able to just add an additional email address to a user. You would actually want to create a subsequent campus account for that user. And Tyler, thanks for clearing that up. And yeah, as Tina, as you mentioned, and Sheila, we do have that documented that we're having issues with the hyperlinks in those emails displaying. So, or displaying those documents, that a lot of people are getting that not authorized. So I believe that some of that is being handled in our release that goes out tonight, but I'm not sure if it will fully resolve the issue. I know parts of it will be resolved by that release. So following up, we've got our Campus Central page. Just kind of wanted to throw that out here. I know you guys have heard about that over and over. We're hoping to start putting some more robust updates on there, more about release notes in advance, so you don't always have to wait for the answer hours to hear about the releases. And then also just providing some additional communication surrounding that. I'm going to go ahead and skip over this question slide since I think we've kind of been handling that throughout. And finally, just looking at our schedule for next week. So these group admin or group management answer hours have kind of been a specialty answer hour that we have been doing. What I want to ask you all, we have gone back and forth between just having a general answer hour, having specific answer hours for each group management group, so one specifically for law firms like we did today. Is that something that you all find to be helpful, or is that something that you all think we should just start including in the law firm answer hours along with the rest of the legal questions? I'll just let you all just kind of marinate on that and answer in the chat as you'd like. And Tina, I see your question here. Paralegals associated with the attorney are receiving confirmation emails granting access when the NOAs are filed, but the legal assistants associated with the attorneys are not receiving those. Is there a reason for that? Tina, we will look into that. I have not heard of that particular issue quite yet, so we'll take that down and we'll investigate why that may be. All right. See, I see one comment in here that we want to keep doing the group admin answer hours, just have them separate. Okay. So yeah, we'll definitely keep having our law firm answer hours. We'll schedule another round of these group admin law firm answer hours. And we will also plan on having, Chantel, I saw your comment too. We will have this video recording put up on the website for reference too, so that you can take a look at that recording as well. And Betsy, that's a really good feedback item regarding an answer hour for interveners. I will take that to our project management team and see if that's something that we can potentially get going in the future. I know there was some discussion of having a medical provider answer hour, so we may be able to work interventions in with that. So I'll definitely take that over to that team, and we'll see if we can't get something started for interveners. So with that, I think we are 2 minutes over. I will go ahead and wrap this up for today. Again, thank you all so much for attending. We will plan to schedule another round of these in the next few weeks, so keep your eyes open. And please just keep us updated if you've got any issues or questions in the meantime. Thanks, everybody.